Everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Steven. I want to use this medium to appreciate those that already subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. And if this is your first time of getting to this YouTube channel and you've not yet subscribed, kindly hit the subscribe button. Don't forget as well to hit the notification button so that anytime I release interesting videos like this, you'll be the first person to get the notification. So on my channels, I've created some applications in Golang, in React, even in Ionic. So there are a lot of tutorials I've created on my channels. So just feel free to explore them and use them to learn, right? Okay, so in today's video, we're going to be creating a Rust application. Yeah, so I picked up Rust a few months ago after I've built some couple of applications in Golang. So I want to explore and know what is happening in the world of Rust, right? So this application we're going to be using today, I call it a string replacement application. It's a command line tools, right? We're going to be running some command line tools to replace a text. It's going to copy a text, right, into another text file, and then we can also replace the content of that file as we are trying to copy what is inside that content into another file. Well, that might sound confusing, but I'm going to show us. I love to do that before I start any of my projects. I would love to show you what this project is all about, so that you know if it could be something you might not be interested in, so you can quickly decide at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to show us what this application is all about. So it's a Rust application, and if you are just learning Rust application, Rust programming language, this tutorial is going to be very useful for you because I talk about structs, talk about some other data types, right? Talks about conditional statements and how you can use some standard libraries in Rust to run your application. So enough of talk. So let's just get our hands dirty. But before we get our hands dirty, let me show us what this application is all about. All right, so I'm inside the my folder now. I call it quick replace. So that's the name of the folder. So the first thing I would love to do is to create a text file. So I'm just going to say echo, right? So I'm going to call this, I want to create a text file. So what is going to be inside that text file is this hello world. This is a text file. So let's call this main text. So let's call it main text, right? So we need to create this. So let's check if this has been created. So we have this main text file, and then let's look at the content inside the text file. You're going to say main text file. So we can see that there is something inside this text file we created. This hello world, this is a text file. So what we want to do now is to run a command line, right, that is going to help us to copy this particular text inside another text, and not only inside that text file, but not only that, we don't just want to copy, but we want to make modifications, right? We want to make modifications into this content. So instead of saying hello world, we want to say hello Rust. This is a text file. So that's what we want to do, and it's going to copy it into another text file. But let me show us something now. So let me say I come here, I do cargo run. Okay, so I come here and then I say cargo run. Then this particular word I want to replace, you know, it is word. That's what I want to replace inside this text file. And then I come here and I say I want to replace with Rust. By the time I click enter, we are going to get an error. Good. It's telling us that wrong number of argument expected 4 got 2. So it's trying to explain the usage, right? That this is how to use this is a command line we need to run for us to get a success response and expected output. So he's saying the target, right? That is the word we want to replace inside our text file. Then the replacement, what we want to replace that particular content with, and then the input, the name of the text file, the output, where we want to copy it, and then these options are those options like the interactive I pass here. So we have interactive, we have case sensitive. I mean, we have a couple of things that we can pass as an option when running our program. So let me clear this now, and then let's run a correct command line prompts here. So we're going to say that cargo now, cargo run. So let's remove this here. So what's the name of the text file? The main text file is that's main text.txt. So we want to copy what is inside this main.txt into another text file. So let's call it copy txt.txt, right? So don't forget that we don't just only want to copy what is here inside this particular copy text file, right? But we want to replace this word with Rust. Okay, so let's put interactive And let's see what is going to happen now. This particular flag, this interactive flag here. So once I put this interactive flags there, you can see that it's trying to do some couple of things here. So it's trying to tell us that, hello Ross, that this is what we want to create inside our next file, right? It's saying, hello Ross, this is a text file. So do we want to go ahead and replace and copy this, what is inside this our main text.txt inside this particular copy text, right? So if you come here and say yes, right? So we got a success response that changes save to copy text.txt. So let me clear this, and if I list here, you can definitely see that our copy text has been created. So we can easily see what is inside our copy text. So we can see, hello Ross, this is a text file. Beautiful. So we are able to copy what is inside the main text file into this copy text file. Not only that, we are able to replace some content, right, that is inside this our main text into this particular copy text here. So that's what we're going to be building today. So let me clear this and let's get started. Okay, so we need to create a new application. We're going to say cargo new. So let's call this project string replacements. Okay, good. So we are going to call it string replacement. So let's see the inside this string replacement, and then we need to open this particular string replacement inside our VS Code. Okay, so let's make it bigger. So, and then let me remove this so that we can see what's going on here. Okay. So here now we have our main.rs file. So this is our main.rs file, and then by running cargo, we're able to create some git ignore files here, right? And then we have our cargo log, and then we have our cargo.toml files there. So if you are used to JavaScript, this is just like a package.json in JavaScript, where every of your dependencies that you know inside your package.json, that's where you manage some of your dependencies. The external packages you install in your particular project is going to be in your package.json. So that's the same thing as well that is happening here. Right, so it's the same thing with we are using Golang. Anytime you run your Go mod init, right, that particular mod file that is being created that manages all those external packages we created. So it's similar to what this cargo.toml is doing here. So here we have our main .rs here. So this is where we're going to be performing writing all our codes that we need to write. So what's the first thing we need to create? So we need to define a struct, right? But before we define the struct, we need to do something. Right, so we are going to come here and put in a derive here. I'm going to say derive. Then we pass in debug. So what is good? This is going to do. I'm going to explain in a second, right? What we're trying to do. So we are going to come here and say struct. Okay, we need to define a struct. So the name of the struct, we are going to call it arguments. So now what this derive debug is going to do is that it's going to help us to, anytime we want to print any of these values inside our struct in the terminal, it's going to make it more readable. So that is why we put this derive debugs here. Okay, so we need to create some structs. So we need a target which is going to be of type string, right? It's going to be of a type string, and then we need to create replacements. So we need to create replacements, which is going to be a type string as well. Type string. So and then we need file name, the file name, which is going to be a type string as well. So we need outputs, which is going to be a string. So and then we need a case sensitive. So these are all the flags now that we need to pass. Case insensitive. So if we don't want the command we want to run to be case insensitive, so let's say case insensitive is going to be a boolean. Okay, then we need interactive. So if you want our command to be interactive, so which is going to be a boolean as well. Then we need preview. If before we make a change into any of the text file, so we can also run preview, right? We can put a flag preview. It's going to first preview it before we make that particular change. Okay, so this is going to be a boolean as well. And then the last one is going to be, let's say a log file. Let's say we want to log every of our activities at a log file. So which is going to be of type option. So the reason why we are putting option is that this is not compulsory, it can be null, right? So let's pass in string here. So what we are basically trying to do here is that now we are trying to create a struct, right? So this struct has different types, right? Or data types. We have string, target, that is the text we want to replace. The replacement is that particular word we want to use to replace that target word. Then the file name, so the output, that is the file we want to copy this particular file into. Then we have all of these flags here. Okay, that's the first thing we need to do. So the next thing we now need to do is to import some standard library like the color. For example, when I run this particular program the other time, let me try to run it again so that you can see what's going on. So let's say cargo run. Okay. So look at, if you notice that some text are being colored here, this is yellow, yeah. So we have, this is green as well. So all of these things we're able to do that because of this particular standard library we are going to import now. See. Okay, so now we need to import some standard library. We are going to call it, the name of that standard library is called text colorizer. So let's say use text underscore colorizer. So we want to import everything inside this particular package. Okay, so then another one wants to do is use std. Okay, so we need to import the environment. So this environment is going to help us to grab everything that we put inside our command, right? So we're going to import env, and then we need to import fs for us to be able to write into a file. Okay, so then we need regex. It is regex we are going to use to search for that particular text inside that file. So we need regex. So inside this regex we need to import regex. Then the last one is use std. Then we need this io. Then we need to pass the self here, and then write for us to be able to write into a file. So let's call this write. So yeah, basically these are all the packages we need inside our application. So now we start creating some functions. So the first function we are going to create is a print usage. When I was showing those the demo the other time of this particular project, when I ran a wrong command prompt, right, what happened was that there was a kind of usage message that was dropped, right, that showed me that how to properly use this command line application. That okay, these are the things I need to run, these are the command I need to run for me to get a success response. So we need to create that particular function here. So we are going to say fn now. So I'm going to call this function print underscore usage. Okay, so here we are going to have we just want to print some things into our console here. So I'm going to say ePrint. Okay, so here we are going to put in this column here, this column brackets, and then we're going to say change occurrences of one string into another. Okay, so we need a new line here. Okay, a new line. So and then put a comma here. Then we'll say quick replacement. Then this quick replacement wants it to be in a green color. All right, wants to be in a green color, and then we want to bold it as well. So let's say bold. So we are able to change the text color because of this text colorizer that we import in our application. So now what we're trying to do is that anytime we run a wrong command line, right? I mean command prompt that we put something in our terminal. So we want to print out something, right? The proper usage of this application. That's what we want to do. So another one we want to print out here is that I'm just going to copy this guy here to save time, and then I need to paste this here. So here now we're going to say that quick replacements, right? So let me remove this guy here. So I'm going to say that quick replacements, since we call the name of the application string replacement, so instead of us using quick replacement, let's just use string. When I was building the application, I call it quick replacement, but let's call it string replacements. Okay, so let's call it string replacements. And then here we are going to say that okay, yeah, before we put in the quick replacement, we're going to call this usage right here. So usage, okay, so this should be out here. So we're going to say, let's put a comma, and then usage, that is how to use this application. So we're going to say usage. Okay, then we put we'll change the color to blue, and then we need to bold it as well. Okay, so then the next thing we need to do here is to tell them that this particular, so let's call this guy, let's remove what is here as well. Let's remove what is here, and then let's say that let's say string, because that's the name of the application. Let's say string replacement, right? So here we put in the targets, and then here as well we say replacements, and then I think this should be inside this, yeah, replacement, and then we say inputs. So this will soon make sense to us what I'm trying to achieve here. So then outputs, just keep following along. So we have outputs, and then here options. Okay, so we have options here. So then we need to bold the options as well and change the color to blue. So here we just need to paste here and then change this as string here. So we're going to say that new line here, and then we'll call it okay, so we say here we have options. So we say options, then we change the color to blue. Let's give it a blue color. And then let's bold it as well. So now this time around we want to put, so if the user puts in a wrong options, so we want to print out something into the terminal as well. So here we are going to come down here. So let's come here, and then if they put in the wrong case insensitive flag, so we want to tell them that this perform, like just like a description that, so this is what case sensitive is supposed to do. Let's say they put in a wrong interactive flag there. We want to tell them that this is what this particular flag is supposed to do. Okay, so now we come here, let's replace this here. So we say case insensitive here, right? So then we are going to say perform. We want to try to tell the person trying to run this program that, so this is what case insensitive can do. So perform case insensitive. So I need to put in the colon here, semicolon. So yeah, so we want to say case sensitive replacements. Right, so let me copy this because we need to do the same thing from other flag as well. So this particular flag we want to do is interactive this time around. So what does this interactive does? So let's come here and say that review each replacement interactively. So let's say review each replacement interactively. Okay, so then the next one is preview, right? The preview flag. So let's say preview, and then let's say show. So what this does is show a preview of the changes before saving. That is before creating that file, before saving. So then the last one is the log file. So let's come here and print something. So I'm going to say if this particular flag is passed, log file. So log file, and then let's put in the file name, because it's expecting anytime you pass this log file here, you must specify the name of that log file, right? So here we're just going to put a description there that save log of changes to the specified file. So yeah, this is all we need to do here. So they will now have to come here and call this eprint command here. Okay, so this is all we need to do inside this our particular function here. So what we are just basically trying to do is that we are just trying to give a description. That is, if let me capitalize this first text here. Okay, so what I'm just trying to do here is that, so anytime a kind of run command prompt is being run, right, we want to give the user a kind of description on how to run this particular program. So that's what we're trying to create in this particular print usage. That is a description on how to use this particular application. So now, having done this, so the next thing we now need to do is that we need to create a function, right? So this function is going to be returning the arguments, right? This function is going to grab anything we put into our command inside our terminal, right? Grab it and then make some modifications to it. So here, let's create the function. So the name of the function is going to be fn pass. Let's call it pass arguments. Okay, pass arguments, and it's going to return arguments, right? So it's going to return arguments. So here, what we need to do now is that, so we need to create we need to create a variable. So let's say let's mute. By default, variables in Rust is immutable. So you need to specify this keyword mute when you want to make, or if in your program you are still going to make changes to that particular variable. So you have to use this keyword mute. It's very important. If not, you are going to get an error when you are trying to run this particular application. So we create a variable, call it arguments. So and then we need to create a vec. So this vector simply means that an array type, right? Just an array type. So that's what this vector means. So this vector is going to be of string, right? And then it's equals to env. So this env, as I explained the other time, is just going to help us to be able to get the things we are running from our command. So all of these things, let me come back and show us here. All this command we are trying to run here, where is it again? Yeah, so this cargo run, this particular word Rust, and all of these things here. So this env file is just going to help us to be able to have access to those prompts that we are trying to run. Okay, so here we are going to say that arguments, okay, dot skip. So we want to skip the first word here. So let's specify, we want to skip the first word, and then dot collect. After we skip, then we want to collect it. So then after, what we need to do is okay, let me see, saying that mismatch type. Okay, yeah, let's proceed. So by the time we want to return it, this error should not be showing again. So now let's create some other variable, like let's mute, let's say case insensitive, right? It's equals to false by default. Then another variable we need to create is the interactive. Let's mute interactive. So we're going to set it to to false as well by default. So you can see that the Rust compiler already is inferred this particular, already dictate that this case insensitive is a boolean, and it's telling us that it's a boolean already. So we don't even need to specify it. So the compiler is going to do that for us. So let's do another one. Let's say let's mute. Let's call this preview. Okay. So we are setting this as well to false by default. And then the log file. So let's say let's mute log file. So this should be equals to none. So we're able to do this because of the option that was specified. You know, all of this data type here. So we are able to get that done properly. So let's see. We're getting this error. Yeah, no method blue. Let me check why we are getting this error. Even despite the fact we've imported this. Okay. We need to install inside our dependencies. So we need to specify this inside our dependencies here. Yeah. So this test colorizer is not external library. We need to install it, right? So let's use version 1, and then we need regex as well. So regex is equals to let's use the version 1 here as well. So that should make our error to disappear. By the time we run this and try to compile, yeah, so those error has gone. Yeah, so we can easily use all of this blue bold of this test colorizer here. So yeah, let's proceed. The error is gone. So the next thing we now need to do, okay, is that we now need to pass those options. So let's come here and let's put a comment here. Let's say pass options. Okay, pass options. So let's say if the user wants to specify some conditions now, that is, if the user pass this flag case is sensitive, right, we want to do something. So if they pass interactive, right, we want to return something. Okay, so let's do it now. So we're going to say if so let's say let's sum index here. So it's equals to argument.it. So we want to iterate it dot position. So dot position, and then we say we need to create this closure here, right? So it's a function, so we don't need to anytime in Rust. So we have two ways of declaring the function. So we might not use this fn keywords. We can use this fn keywords to create a function, and then there's something called closure as well that we can use as a function. So we might not need to specify that fn for us to be able to create that function. So it's taking this x as an argument. Okay, so against x is equals to dash case interactive. So what we're trying to do here is that now by the time, you don't forget that this argument here, as I said the other time, that this env here is going to help us to grab those commands that we are running inside our terminal. So we want to search. We are trying to search. We want to iterate through this argument here. Don't forget that everything that we are trying, all those commands we are trying to run in our terminal, we are saving it inside this argument here. Is a variable. So now here we want to check if this case sensitive is part of what is being sent, right? It's part of what is being used in the command, right? So we want to check it. So if it is there, so we want to do something. So we are going to set the case sensitive to true. I'm going to say case sensitive is equals to true. Okay, so and then we are going to remove it from the argument. We are going to say remove index. I'm going to say remove index. Okay, so yeah, that's what we want to do. So if it is there, we set this case sensitive to true. Then after we want to remove it, right? So now the next condition we want to check again is the interactive. We'll check for interactive, we'll check for preview, and we're going to check for the log file. So let's quickly do that. So I can just simply copy this guy here for the sake of time, and then paste it here. So here we want to check for interactive. Okay, that's what we want to check for, and then we need to set interactive to true. Yeah. Okay, so we need to do the same thing for preview. So let's just change this here to preview if this preview flag is available. So preview, and then let's change this to preview equals to true. Then the last one, which is quite different, right, is the log file. So here we want to check for something. So if the user if anyone wants to run this application, right, and then we pass in this log file, okay, we want to check if the file name is being specified. So if it's not being specified, we want to return an error, right, to tell the anybody using the application that you need to specify the log file name. So let's quickly do that. So I'm just going to paste this, but this time around, I'm going to say log file. I'm going to say log file. But what we want to do is quite different from here. So I'm just going to come here and say if index, right, +1, then is lesser than the arguments, okay, the arguments length, okay, argument length here. So we want to say that log underscore file is equals to some arguments. Okay, we pass in the index plus 1, then we need to clone. Let's clone it here. Okay, so then the next thing we want to do is I'm going to say arguments here. So does drain. Okay, so does drain. So this say drain remove the specified range from the vector in bulk, returning all removed elements as an iterator. So now what we're trying to do here is that now we want to check that once this log file is passed, we want to know if that is, or if the file name is being specified. So if the file name is being specified, fine. We want to remove this log file and then the file name from the command, just like what we did here. So I need to specify interactive here so that we will not have issue. So like just like similar thing to what we did here, is that if this case sensitive is passed, if this flag is being passed, what we want to do is that we set the case sensitive to true, right? But we need to remove it. Okay, so now, so I'm going to say range, then drain. Okay, here we're going to say index. Then we pass in this is equals to index +1. Okay, so index +1. Let's see. Then we say that, so this should be index is equals to +1, right? Yeah, so that's all what we need to do here. Then else, if that flag, you know, if the file name is not specified, right? So if the file name is not specified, so what we want to do is that we want to print something out. We're going to say print. So I'm going to say print missing. I'm going to say missing file name after log underscore file. Then we need to create a new line here. So, and then we're going to say error. Okay, we're going to say error. Then so this should be error. Then we put the color to red. So that's red. Hold on, I think this should be closed here. Missing file. This string should be, okay, yeah. Then we want to bold it as well. Let's say bold. Okay, so yeah, then here we need to call the print usage function here. Print usage function, and then we're going to say that standard, we want to exist the program process dot exist. So anytime we get this error, so we want to exit the program. Okay, so that's what we need to do. So what we're trying to do here is, I've explained the other time, we want to check if this log file flag is there. If it's available, then we want to do something. So what we want to do is that we need to get that log file, we create it, and then after that, then we need to remove the log file and the file name from the command prompt that we're trying to run. Okay, so once we've been able to achieve this, so the next thing we need to do, right, is that we want to check as well if peradventure, if the command that the command the user is trying to run in the terminal, right? If it's not correct, we are expecting the output file, that is, we are expecting the input file, that is the name of the file that you want to copy, right? The main file, that's the input file, and we're expecting the output file, that is the file that we want to copy the text into. Okay, so now what we want to do now is that if all of these things is not available when the user is trying to run the command, so we want to throw an error and show them that this thing is wrong. You need to specify this output file. You need to specify the input file as well. So let's just do that here. So I'm going to say that here we are going to say if arguments, okay, dot length. So if the argument's length, right, let's say if argument's length here is not equals to 4, okay, so it's not equals to 4, we need to show an error. So here we're going to say print usage. Let's call print usage here, and then we want to return an error. I'm going to say if prints, right, I'm going to say so here we want to specify the error. I'm going to say wrong number of arguments. So I guess expected 4 got so we need to put this placeholder here, and then we need to create a new line. Okay, so here we say error. Let's put error here, and then so we need to bold it. The text of this error should be in red color, and then we need to bold it as well, bold. Okay, so and then not only that, so we need to say the argument length dot length. Yeah, so basically that's all we need to do here. Let's put the length here properly. So what we're trying to do here is that now if the let me come back to our terminal here. So let me say no here, and then clear this out. So let's say what we are trying to do now. Let me show what we are trying to do in that particular condition statement we just created now. So now let's say I come here and I say cargo run, right? Let's say for example I don't put this output file here, and I just specify this main.tx. So and I click enter. So you see what's going to happen now. Look at this error. We say wrong number of arguments, expected 4, got 3. So by now you're supposed to know where this is coming from. So by now you're supposed to understand where this usage is coming from as well, and then these options where they are coming from. So let me quickly show us. So if this usage, let me show us where it's coming from in our application so that you can understand what is really going on. So you see these options here is coming from here. Don't forget that we specify this option with their description, right? So it's coming from here. Option, we give it bold, we give it blue color, and then we bold it. And then here the usage as well, we print it in our terminal as well. All of those things is coming out from here. But this conditional statement is when the length of those commands, if they are not up to 4, because we are expecting 4, then the wrong number of argument expected 4, which is showing here. You see the error is red, and then this particular text error message is coming from here. I'm just showing it so that you can really understand what is really going on, right? Okay, so now the last thing we now need to do in this particular function here is to say arguments. Don't forget that this function is returning what? Is returning arguments. Okay, so we need to come here and say target here inside our struct. I'm going to say arguments dot we need to get the first text, right? And then dot clone. Sorry, it shouldn't have dots. Yeah, it should be 0, then dot clone. Okay, so the next thing again is that we need to specify replacements. So replacement is going to be arguments as well. So this should be dot clone as well. So the next thing is we have file name. Okay, so the file name should be arguments, the second text, right? Then dot clone. I hope you understand what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so then the outputs, we need to get the output as well. So the arguments, then we have 3 dot clone. Okay, shouldn't be clear. Dot clone. And then let's pass the case insensitive here, because those ones are just boolean. So interactive we have here, preview we have here, and then the log file. Yeah, so that's what we need to do here. So here now we are already, so in this function is returning this argument here. So the target is the 0, right? You know, we have 0, this one should be 0 1. Yeah, so we have the target, that is the output, I mean the input file, the mail file, right? Is this target. We try to clone it, right, and put it inside these targets here. The replacement as well, we do the same thing. Okay, so the file name, the output, and then the case sensitive and the rest. So this particular function is returning successfully this our arguments here. So the last function we now need to create is the function that is going to be perform this replacement itself. Okay, so we are going to be using regex in this particular function. So here, what we need to do is let's just come down here, and then let's create a function. So let's go to replace. Okay, and then this replace is going to be taking some parameters. Okay, so the target, which is of target. Okay, so we need to specify the type. So we need to make reference to this string. Okay, so then we have replacements, which is a string as well. Reference to string. Okay, we have the text as well, which is of the same type, and then the case sensitive. Case is sensitive, which is boolean. Okay, so and then this particular function is going to return a string, a result of string. Let's say results. And then this result is going to be string, and then vector, so which is going to take, which is of type, let's say use size here, and then string. Okay, and then string. So the next thing again is that, let's see, I hope I'm doing everything correctly, yeah, so I will not have issues. So okay, so yeah, we need to specify comma here, and then we need to return this regex error. Let's say error as well. So I think I'm missing something. This vector. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this regex should be inside this vector as well. This should be here. That correct. And then we need to open our curly brackets here. Yeah, so here we are trying to return the results, right? The string, and then this vector which contains of two types, and then this error, okay, the regex error, in case if there's any issue. So then the first thing we need to do here is that we need to check, right? So we are going to say, let's declare a variable. We are going to say let's regex, okay, is equals to if case is sensitive, right? We are going to say that regex. So let's say anytime we pass this flag case is sensitive, that is we want our text, the text that we want to replace should be case sensitive, right? So that if it's either small letter or capital letter, it's just going to replace it. Okay, so now let's come here and let's say regex is equals to if okay, we've done this already, so we just need to say regex and then say new, then we've tried to get the formats. Say new format, then we pass in this let's say, yeah, I'm going to say that, put this question, okay, I'm going to say I, and then put this placeholder here, then we put the targets here. So then after doing that, we need to specify this here, right, to check if there is any issue, if there's any error. So here we're going to say else. Okay, so you can say regex here, then the new targets. Okay, so here we need to put this semicolon here. So simply what we are just trying to do here is that now we are trying to check, right? We want to check if this case sensitive is being, if it is true, right? If it is true, okay, we want to do a couple of things, right? We want to get the target, right? The target of that input file, right? We want to get it and look into that input file and see if there is this format exists there, right? So that's what we are trying to do. So here now we're going to create, let's create a variable. Let's mute. So for us to be able to change the value of this variable later on, it's equals to vector, right? Then let's say new, right? So this log, we now come here and let's replace another variable. Let's replace is equals to regex dot replace regex dot replace all, okay, dot replace all. Then we pass the text here. So we pass in the text, and then what else do we want to replace? So we want to replace the text, and then we need to come here and create we say caps here, okay. Then we say that's regex regex capture. So as part of captures here. Then here we need to create this here. So let's if it match the text, let's match the variable. Let's match underscore text, okay, it's equals to caps dot get, okay, caps dot get 0, then dot unwrap and then dot as a string, then to string, okay. So what we're just trying to check is to see if this particular exists in our, if this particular we're trying to check if this case sensitive is being passed. So if it is passed, so we create a new variable called log here, and then we want to look into that particular text files. So if it matches, right, so we want to convert what it matches to a string. Then after that, then we now need to push that particular text that we want to replace, that particular thing that matches that text that we want to replace. So we want to push it back into this log, okay. So then let's come here and then we're going to say that log dot push, okay. So log dot push, we're going to say caps dot get here, we put in the 0 here. So then dot unwrap here. So then dot start, okay. So we are trying to check for the beginning of that text, right? If it contains a capital letter, then here we are going to say match text dot clone, okay. So match text dot clone, right? Then we need to close this here. Let me see what's going on here. Expected semicolon. So let me see if we are doing everything right here, so I will not make mistake. So we need to close this guy here. So we are saying that log dot push dot caps, okay, dot caps, okay. I think this should be in zone bracket as well. Yeah, so this should be in zone bracket as well. So then we now want to replace it now. So I'm going to say replacement dot to string, okay. So then we are going to say if everything is okay, then you can go ahead to replace it. So if it's okay, so if everything is fine, so if the result we get is okay, then we want to say replace here. I'm going to say replacement, okay, it's going to be replaced dot to string, okay, dot to string, and then here we'll specify log here as well. Yeah, so basically this is all we need to do here inside this our function here. So don't be confused, we are just trying to check if the if this case sensitive is being passed. So if it is passed, then we want to check for that that anytime we want to make a replacement in that particular text, you should just try and go ahead and check if it is capital letter or small letter, and then go ahead to replace that particular text. So that's all we basically do here. So then the last thing to now do, okay, is inside this our main function. We now need to do some couple of things here. So inside this our main function here, let's quickly get that done. So here we want to say that let argument here is equals to, don't forget, we need to call this our function here, and this our function is returning an argument, which is a struct that will create. Okay, so we're going to say that let data is equals to match okay, let's say match fs. Okay, then we're going to say read to string. Okay, read to string. Then we need to specify the file name here. So let's just say file name. Okay, so let's say, okay, that is a type argument. Let's make a reference to that argument here. So I'm going to say dot file name. Okay, and then we are going to say that if everything is okay, so we pass in this v here, which is a string, and then we'll come down here and say that v comma here, and then if in case there's an error, we want to check for error here. So error, then when trying to read that particular file, so we're going to print something here. So we want to print, I'm going to say that so the error we want to print out should be failed to read file. Okay, failed to read file from the file name. We need to specify that here as well. So the file name, then we need to say, come here and say that, put this here, and then this is just a placeholder, right, for us to be able to print out an error into our terminal when we are unable to read that particular file. So here we are going to say that error, which is going to, let's change the color to red, like what we did previously to others. So we're going to say red, and then let's bold it. We bold this as well, and then the argument, the file name that we want to read, dot file name, then the error itself. Okay, so here we need to put in the semicolon here. Then let's see. Okay, so here now we now want to exit the program. Let's std process, in case if there's an error trying to read a particular file. So we need to exit the file. Then the code should be 1. Okay, that's correct. So here we need to put in the semicolon here. So now let's now go ahead and then replace the particular data, right? So we come here, let's replace. So we need to call the replace function that will create. So we're going to say replaced. Okay, replace data. Let's call that replace data, and then log. So which is equals to match. Let's check that. Match replace. So it's expecting this replace is expecting two 3 or 4 arguments. Yeah, I think 4 arguments. That's this target, the replacement, the text, and then the case sensitive. So now let's come here and then let's say argument. Don't forget that argument is a variable we created the other time. So dot the target. Okay, we do the same thing for the replacement. Let's say argument dot replacement, and then the data itself that we want to replace. So let's say data. Okay, sorry, argument. Yeah, we just need to pass data here. Data. So and then this case is sensitive. We just say arguments. So let's just make reference to arguments here. Dot case is sensitive. Okay, so here we are going to do the same thing too as well. If we want to check if everything is okay, and then if there is an error as well. So let's just come down here and to quickly do that. So we're going to say if it's okay. So we pass in this v here. So we're going to say v command. So but in case if there's an issue, there's an error. Okay, let's say error here, and then we print something in our console here as well. So I'm going to say, let's put in our placeholder here. So I'm going to say failed. Is a failed to replace text. Okay, so we put another placeholder here. So because we are returning, this is a tuple, right? This replacement data and the log. So that's why we need to put in this question mark here as a placeholder, even though we are going to get an error. So then I'm going to say end here. So we say error. So let's put this semicolon here. I'm going to say error. Then dot red. So the error should be in red, and then let's bold it as well. Okay. So this shouldn't be new to us again at this stage. And then we put in our error here. So then we need to exist. Like if we get this error, we want to stop the application. This is std dot process. Okay, dot process dot exist. Okay, should be exist here. Then the code should be 1. Okay, so yeah. So once we've done that, now we want to quickly check for. We want to try to all of those flags we want to pass, right? Let's just beautify them to make it readable. So if the preview flag is passed, so we just want to format it, then put the color to blue and all of those just to make it readable. Typically we are done with our application, but we just need to make those particular text readable, right? And then from there we can then proceed to save the changes. So that's what we need to do. That we're almost done, but let's just make some formatting to make this text what we are formatting in returning our terminal to make it readable. So that's what we need to do here. So let's really do that. So let's say preview mode. So if it's in the preview mode, okay, so we are going to say if arguments, right, dot preview. Don't forget that this preview is a boolean. That's why we can do this here. So if argument does preview, so let's put in this semicolon here. Let's see, should it be there? No, we don't need it here. So I hope I'm outside. Oh, this should be outside. Okay, yeah, this should be outside this. Okay, so if argument of preview, if it exists, so we want to, let's say print line. Okay, let's just do some formatting here. So let's quickly do that. I'm going to say put in a placeholder here, and then new line. Okay, so then another placeholder, then new line, then another placeholder here, the new line here. So then we are going to come down here. Let's just do something here. So here we are going to see, let's put this here for you to make it readable, and then dot blue, let's make it color blue. Okay, so then here as well, so we just put the text here, call it preview. This is the title, preview changes. So anytime this is print our terminal, we're going to see how it works. So here we want to put the color to yellow, okay. So and then dot bold, right? So then here we'll come here and then still close it here. So then let's say blue here as well. So if that is done, okay, so this is done here, then the next thing again is to check for the changes, right, that we want to make that we're going to print. So let's do that here as well. So we're going to say print, right, print line. We're going to say that's the same thing here. So let's come here and then put a new line here, then the placeholder. So then this time around, so we're going to say changes font. That is the changes we want to make. Let's say changes font. Okay, so that's new line here. So we want to print the changes font, and then we are going to come down here and say replace. So let's say replace data. Okay, replace data dot line. So then the number of lines to take. So I'm going to say dot take uh 10, right, dot collect. Okay, dot collect, and then say we pass this here. We're going to say vector here, and then so let's put this here underscore. Then the next thing we need to do is to put this here, and then okay, does join. Okay, let's join together. Does join. So then we pass in a new line here. Okay, all we're just trying to do is just to make this thing readable. I mean, what we're going to print in our console to make it readable. So then we're going to say that preview mode. I'm going to say preview info rather. So preview info dots. Let's put the color to blue. Okay, and then let's bold it. Does bold. Then the log length, that is the number of the log. Okay, the number of the words we want to change, the lines, right? So that's what we want to print out here now. That's length. Okay, so and then let's put return. Yeah, everything works fine. So it wants to return. Okay, so then the next thing we now need to do after we've done this, okay, is that we want to check for the interactive as well. So we are going to do the same thing, but this time around it's just a bit different. So we can just come here for the sake of time and then copy what we have here, and then we go ahead to make our modifications. So yeah, this time around, so let's put a comment here. We want to check for interactive. So that's what we want to do. We want to check for interactive. Okay, for interactive mode. So if it is passed, so here we are going to change this to interactive, and then this time around we just need to come here and say interactive replacement. So interactive replacement. Okay, then we need to specify yeah, interactive replacement. So then we need to come down here. Let me just remove this here because we don't need it. So hold on, I hope I remove everything correctly. See, that's good. So this start from here. Okay, so then we are going to loop through. I'm going to say for, let's say for line in replace data dot lines. So we want to loop through the number of lines of data we want to replace. So we're going to say that print line. Okay, so we put in our placeholder here. So this is where the question is going to be asked. That's either we want to specify yes or no. Do you want to replace particular data? So I'm going to say replace this line. Okay, so I'm going to say you can specify either yes or no. Okay, so then this should be in green. Let's say line dot green. Okay, yeah, so then we're going to say let's mute inputs. So we want to specify, we are trying to create a variable here now, so which is going to be type string. It's equals to string then new. Okay, so we're going to say hi over here. So for us to be able to get stand in, okay, so does read line, then we pass in the mute here and then inputs. Okay, so then dot unwrap. Okay, so here we're going to say if inputs now, if inputs dot stream, so we need to remove the white space, dot trim dot to lowercase, okay, is equals to y. So that is if it's equals to yes. That is if the when we ask this question, so if the user type y, it means yes, right? We want to go ahead and then replace that particular data. Okay, but if they say no, right, we will not bother to do anything. Okay, so now we are going to come here and if they specify yes, so I'm going to say final Okay, we're going to say, okay, yeah, we need to create a variable, right? This final data. So before we come here, let's quickly do that here. So let's final. Okay, let's put it is a mutable variable. So let's final data. Okay, let's find data is equals to string. It's equals to string, and then we say new here. So right, so we can be able to put easily we're able to push to this final data. So that's what we want to do now. So final data dot push. Okay, so what are we pushing? We want to push, okay, this should be push string. Okay, push string, and then we want to push that line. Okay, then we need to say final data here, final data dot push, not push this time, and not push string this time, and it's going to be ordinary push, and then we are going to say new line. Okay, and so we're going to say new line. So then the next thing we now need to do is that in case if this interactive flag is not passed, so what are we going to do? So if it's not passed, so let me remove this return here, we don't need it here since we are specifying else. So if it's not passed, so what do we need to do? So we're going to say final data is equals to, let me see, is it at a level? Okay, it should be here. So it should be here. Yeah, so the final data is equals to replace data, okay, dot clone. Okay, replace that dot clone. Yeah, so that's what we need to do in case if this interactive is not if it's not flagged. So we just push that same data. We just go ahead and replace the data without asking this question of yes or no. Do you understand now? So that's what we're trying to do here. So now then the last part of this application is for us to save the changes. So if everything is okay, so now we want to come down here and save changes. So then let's say come down here and say let's put a comment here, save changes. Okay, so I'm going to say match fs here. So we want to write, okay, to create a file. So then the output, the name of the file is going to be arguments.output. Okay, .output, and then the final data. So we want to push this particular, we want to create a new file with this final data here. Final data. Okay, so if everything is okay, so we're going to come if it's okay. So if everything is okay, then we are going to say print line. Okay, we say print line, and then let's quickly specify some line here. Changes save. I'm going to say changes like a message. Changes saved to another placeholder. That is which is going to be the file name. So change to, and then we have create a new line here. Okay, then let's specify a comma. So we're going to say success, and then we say that success. Then let's give it color green. That is successful, and then let's bold it as well. And then let's bold it as well. So and then here we're going to say argument.output. That is the name of the file. Okay, so in case if there is an error, right? So we want to say error, right? If there's an error trying to write into this file to create a new file, so what we just need to do is to say that let's print here. Okay, should we print line? Okay, then we put in a placeholder here, saying that failed to write. Okay, failed to write to file. Failed to write to file. Then we put in another placeholder here. Then the error message here. Then new line. Okay, so new line here. And then we need to say error here. Error should be inside colon, then error here. So don't forget the same thing, we give the error color red, Then we bold it as well. Dot bold. Okay, so here, then we need to, all this placeholder here, we need to replace them with the actual value. So I'm going to say arguments dot output. Then we're going to say the error as well. So yeah, that's all we just need to do, and then we need to exit the program. So if we get this error, so we're just going to come down here and say that should it be inside the error? That's where we should exit. Yeah, it should be inside this error here. So I'm going to say std process, then exist. Okay, then we put in 1 here. So then we come out here. So the last thing we now need to do is to know the number of files, right? So that's the next thing we need to do. So we want to know the number of files, like a file statistics, right? So we do a kind of line and word count and the likes. So anytime we run this R command, so let's just quickly do that. So now let's come here, and then we need to come down here and specify that here inside this place. So I'm going to say here, should it be inside this particular function here? Let's quickly see that. Okay, it's going to be outside. So what was created should be outside this function here. So let's see. The next one we want to do is that let's call this line and word counts. So the number of words we want to replace, and then the number of lines of words we want to replace. So we're going to say print line. Okay, so we're going to say print line, and then here we need to put in some placeholder here, then new line, then another placeholder, then new line here. Okay, so yeah, so we need to put a comma here, and then we just need to do the same. Let me just come here and copy what we did here. It's just similar to what we want to do there as well. Yeah, from here, let's copy this. So it should be blue and yellow. Blue and yellow. Okay. So let's see. So that's blue. Okay. Then the files, the title should be file statistics. File statistics. Okay. So which is going to be in yellow and then in bold color. So this should be a semicolon here. Then let's remove this here. So then the next thing we now need to do again is that to do the same thing for the original file. So the name of, we want to get the name of the original file that we want to copy, like how many lines and then how many words that is inside that particular file. So let's just do that. Here we come here to copy this, and then we paste this. So let's give this original file. Let's call it original file. Original file. Original file. So this original file, let's change the color to green, right? So we change the color to green. Then we don't need to bold this. So we don't need to bold this. Then let's say that the data line now, this time around, we need to, since we want to count the number of lines, so I'm just going to say that here, let's specify data dot lines, okay, then dot count. So once count the number of lines, right, and then we're going to say data dot split white space. Yeah, this is what we need. Dot split white space dot count. Okay, so we want to count the number of words, and then we want to count the number of lines that is inside that our original file. So we might not need to put this here. So we just let's put in a semicolon here. That's all. So then the next thing we will now want to do is that file that we want to copy, right? The original file. We know we have the original file, and then that file that we want to copy into. So what we just need to do is that let's just come here and copy this here, and then paste this here. So we're going to say modified file, right? And then we do the same thing here. So basically, that's all what we need to do. So here we have been able to let me indent this properly, make it readable. This as well. Okay. So yeah, basically we are done with our application. I know this video is quite long, but I know you've been able to pick one or two things here. So don't be confused. What we're just trying to do here is that number one, we create a struct. After creating a struct, so we have these packages imported, this text colorizer for us to be able to color text in our terminal. Then this is a standard library like that is in Rust. We bring in env for us to be able to get for us to be able to have access to the command prompt, right? So things that things that we put inside our command prompt for us to be able to have access to it. Then we have this the vector, then the regex as well. So and then the same thing as well here, we imported all of this library. So here we are trying to print a usage, right? In case if the user trying to input a wrong command, so we print this guy is inside our terminal, inside our command prompts. Okay, so the same thing goes here as well. What we are trying to do here is that we are trying to pass the arguments we are getting from our terminal, right? So here we specify a variables, and I explained the video of this mute to us the other time for us to be able to make changes to all of these variables that were created. So here, so we are trying to check if this case sensitive is passed. We set it to true, and then we remove it from that argument. The same thing goes to interactive, to preview, to log file. So let's just see if everything works fine, and then it shows we are good. So I've saved. Then let me go into my terminal here, and then let me clear this. So for us to be sure, let's go inside our particular program. We call it string replacement. Yeah, so we need to create a file. Let's create a file. Let's say echo hello world. No, this time around, let's come here and say this is a YouTube tutorial. This is a YouTube tutorial, okay, on Rust programming language. So yeah, so and then we want to call the name of that file main.txt file. So if I click ls now and list out inside this particular string replacement, so we can see that we have this our main text here. Okay, so now what we want to do now, let's check. Let's just run a wrong command. So let's say cargo run, and then let's say here we want to replace YouTube to like Genus Tech, right? So let's say we have YouTube here, and then let's specify Genus Tech here. Okay, if I run this command now, so let's see what we're going to have. So no match package text colorizer. So we're getting an error saying no. Okay, yeah, let's go back into application. I think I know. Yeah, it's coming from here, this cargo. So it should be text dash not underscore. Okay, let me save. That should solve our issue there. So let me clear again, and then let's run at this time. So it's trying to install the text colorizer for us, and then we are getting some couple of errors here. So what is the error we are getting? So here it's saying that in line 109, that's match replace bull font. Okay, let's see what we are doing wrong in that particular line 109. Let's check line 109, and let's debug this. Okay, already even getting the error here. So what are we doing wrongly here? So yeah, we need to remove this reference. Yeah, we don't need this here, so we need to remove this reference. And then this replace data log. So let me see, data argument case sensitive, why mismatch type. So we pass this argument or target here, arguments replacement. So and then we say data, right? And then we say argument. So let's go into this function and see what's happening there. So in this function, so we are saying inside this replace function that we created, so we are saying we are passing these results, okay, and then it's a type string. Okay. So your type string, we need to put this guy in this quiet bracket there. This is our issue. So and then this should be this vector should be we need to create this guy vector here, and then this should be a capital letter as well, vec. So let's see, let me try to save. So the error is coming from here. I think I'm missing something. So we have string, then this vector here, and then we have this use size, and then we have string, and then we have this here as well. So at the same time we are having this, we're returning this as well. Expected, let's see the error, font unit type. Okay, so the issue here is that I need to remove this semicolon here so that it can be able to return this particular value. So that's why we're having that particular issue. So I've been able to remove that. That error is gone, but we are still getting some other compiler errors. So this is saying that it required at least a string here. Let's see why. Okay, this should be print n, not print. Yeah, that error is gone. So here we are getting font string here as well. So what's the issue? I think we need to put in a semicolon here. Yeah, so all of these things are very, very important. So we need to specify the semicolon here as well. So here we're getting the thread bond is not satisfied following the type, blah blah blah. So what is the issue here as well? So we put in the colon here, put in the colon here. Something is wrong here. So let's see. Yeah, so we need to put this two dots here. Yeah, for us to be able to get access to this index here, right? So this log file is never read, blah blah blah. Okay, so that's just a warning, it's not an issue. Okay, so let's come down here and try to debug some other errors. So here it's saying that inside our main, right? If that's correct, let's see what's the issue here as well. Inside our main, let's see. It's saying that vector expected command collect. Okay, so the issue here is that this collect shouldn't have this brackets here. So and then this dot join, should this be here? So this dot join should be, there should be a close bracket here. Okay, dot join, let's see, let's join, then because we're trying to join these values together. Okay, so we just need to come here. There's this particular bracket here that we need to remove here. So that's gone. Then the last error that we are getting, the argument never used. This argument never used as well. So let's see. Okay, so yeah, we just need to quickly do something here. So here we need to just see lines for us to be able to print that properly. So I'm going to say lines, and then here let's say words. Let's say words here, right? So here we are going to say data.line, then this particular one is there. So let's save. So modify does green. Okay, this is the original text, right? And then data, this is a 3 placeholder here. Should we have 3 placeholder? Yes, 3, this one, then the word, then the line, then modify, then we have original data here, data line, then we have data split white does count. So why are we getting this never, argument never used? Okay, so the issue here is that we haven't 3 placeholder here, and we are trying to replace it with 4 items, which is wrong. So let's just remove this guy here. So and then let's remove this here. So this should be final data. Yeah, I remember now. This should be final data. Okay. So yeah, every error we've been able to fix that. So we've been able to debug, and then everything is okay. So let's try to run the application again, and let's see. Okay, let's try to do something like a wrong command here. So we're still trying to compile. So it said wrong arguments expected for GOT3. So we are able to, print that response to a terminal here, and then this is the usage here. So we are saying that string replacement, this is how it's supposed to be used, and then we have all these are options, but I don't know why this our option is not being formatted properly. It's supposed to be formatted properly with those new lines that we used to create that. So let's see. Let me run it again. Okay, saying log file is never used. Yeah, so that's just a warning. So, but this is not printed well. I don't like the way these options is being printed here. It's as if those new lines that we specified are not working properly. So let me see. Let's come back here. Yeah, let's see what's wrong. So here we said new line. Do we put in another? Yeah, we put in a new line here, and then we say string. Okay, replacement. So then we say we come here. We say options. Then we bold it, and here we say that case sensitive here. Let's give it space here. Then let's give it space here as well. I don't like the way it's been formatted, so that we can make it much more readable. Okay, so I can make it much more readable. Okay, so let's run it again and see. Yeah, it's still the same. Okay, seek option, case sensitive preview. The new line in this option is not working. I think that's where the issue is coming from. Okay, so let's try to run it again. Let me clear this, and then let's run it again. Yeah, so yeah, we have it formatted properly now. So we have the usage, then changes occurrence of one string into another, right? So we have this usage, the target replacement, and the likes. So we have this option as well, case sensitive. This I is supposed to be used. So then let's now run a proper command now. So let's say cargo run. Then the output file should be, let's call the output file should be copied. Let's say copied.txt. Then let's specify a flag. Let's make it interactive. So that we can get a response of yes or no. Yeah, you can see now. He said this is what we want to replace. This is a Genox. The reason why we are getting this log file is because we've not created anything about our log file, right? We've not made use of it, and that's why it's giving us this warning. But let's just ignore that for now and let's focus on this. Okay, so this interactive replacement. So you say this is a Genox tutorial. This is what we want to replace with. So by the time we click yes and then we click enter, so it tells us that the number of line that is modified is 1, and then the original file is 1. The number of words there is 9. Okay, then the modified file now is 1, and then the number is 9. So by the time, let me clear this. Okay, and then let me say list. You see that we already have a copied text. If you want to check what's inside our copied text, we just say cat, then copied text. So we can see now that we have, this is Genox Tech tutorial on a Rust programming language. So we can text every other flag too. Let's say we want to text for flag for preview. So let's do this. And then let's say preview. Let's put in preview here and see what's going to happen. So what preview will just do for us is just that preview will just show us the changes of what wants to happen, and then the number of changes that wants to happen is going to specify it for us here. So we've been able to successfully create our string replacements CLI application. So if you have any question or kind of concern, or you think things, maybe I'm not doing something properly. I said earlier that I started looking into Rust not quite long, just a few months ago. So I'm just looking at it, trying to explore what is happening in Rust, right? So if you think there is any kind of things I need to correct and all, just drop it in the comment section. And if you have a question as well, let me know. And if you really enjoyed this tutorial, what we spoke about today, if you've learned one or two things, just give this video a thumbs up. And then don't forget as well to subscribe. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe, just to appreciate what I've done, what I've created in this video. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch. See you guys in my next video. Bye.